about the scores we ain't set. We said winner 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, F. Fam over gram, that's a message. We be stacking bread up like it's cheddar. Talking about the scores we ain't set. We said winner 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, F. Dreams over schemes, that's a
What up? What up, man? We're first off, happy pre-4th. We both got our swag on today. That the Got Mortgages game is pretty tight. I mean, you're always coming up with something. And then we got the Hickory FC custom kit that's rolling out at tonight's game. We got the Eagle all around to the back. We got the We the People. We got the 1776.
So dope.
We're tonight we got a big game and we made 250 of these. So the first 250 in line can purchase these custom kits. So we're stoked about it. And it's only going to be 110 degrees outside. So luckily we made them kind of cool.
Did you make gorilla size? Because I would certainly love one.
I think we can figure that out.
Yeah, stitch two together and call it a day.
I'll just make a flag and then you can wrap it around yourself. How about that? You got fourth plans? Are you doing a big thing at the compound?
Yeah, you know me. I've got so many people. I mean, we got a heat wave in Jersey over the last couple of days. So everyone's at my house. Yesterday I had like probably 15 different business partners, and we're all working back there. Literally, it was like, and I meant to take a picture, but I did not want to grab my phone while I was there. That was a big part because I'm like, then I'm gonna get so pulled into it. Yeah. But it was like we built a new bar. So I ripped out the shed and then we put essentially 3/4 of the shed and then a full-blown bar. I'll send you a picture of it. It's so dope. So it wraps around, 85-inch TV, 2 massive commercial fans like attached to it. It's like 15 degrees cooler under there. And then like the second you step out, it almost hit, I think, 100 degrees, which in Jersey is ridiculously humid. But it's cool, man. We had realtors. I had one of our marketing guys. We had one of our partners who owns like an edible arrangements, and we're all just bullshitting. And then we all ordered Jersey Mike's, which is like a little sub sandwich shop. Yeah, people are taking calls. I had to jump on our national call for PRMG, so I fucking ran inside, banged it out, came back. So it was cool.
Well, I mean, this is just another example of like this whole. For years we used to hear this work-life balance. Like you prove work-life integration is really what you're doing. I mean, you guys are still having a good time. You're becoming friends, so you kind of want to hang out with each other. But in the midst of all of that, it's like the greatest mastermind session ever because it's super chill. It's very informal. This is like one of those topics where even coming from someone who's now just fully invested on building a great tech platform, I just don't believe that tech on its own is the solution. Like this is still a relationship based industry and world. And there's people that when you or one of your teammates messes up, even if you mess up more than once, you've built this connection that's kind of ride or die. And what you're talking about relates to that. Okay, let's transition because it's July 3rd. Neither one of us have a ton of time today. I'll give you a funny little story. It's not funny. This building that I'm in is a former bank building. I'm up on the 6th floor, which in Hickory, North Carolina is the tallest building in downtown Hickory. But on days where it's kind of closed, the air conditioning is not running. So I got the ring light here in front of me generating heat. If you keep me here long enough, I might pass out. So anyway, we'll jump in. You just got back from Mastermind not that long ago, just a couple weeks ago. And of course you sent me some pictures, which just gave me FOMO, quite frankly. But talk a little bit about what you saw, what you feel like the pulse is. I want to hear something that you walked away feeling like, oh, this is cool, and I can see how this is going to create value. And then I'd also love to hear, because you're just so honest and transparent, what are things that you're seeing that you still feel like these are a bunch of shiny widgets and they're fancy and they're slick, but I don't see how it's going to create value for me.
Yeah. Matt and Tim put on an awesome event, right? It was super, super cool. It was actually my first time in Vegas, believe it or not.
Wait. Your first time in Vegas, period?
Ever. Yeah.
Oh, that's shocking.
So that was, I feel like that was always like the the Lion King forbidden zone internally. So luckily my wife is pretty cool, and I'm like, hey, I'm going to Vegas, and she's like, cool, and then I'm like, damn, imagine how many times I've turned down opportunities to go. But it was super cool, great ambiance. They put on a great event. Listen, the hard part, I think, within these mastermind events, stuff like that, especially, right? You remember when I when we started getting super tight, I was like, I'm not a fan of going to those, right?
Right.
And then I had made that commitment where I'm like, listen, this year is going to be the year where I'm going to go to several, right? And it's great because you get to meet new friends and you get to meet people all across the country. And I think that, just like anything, is what you make of it, right? So like what we did is I didn't take like a single like handwritten note. I recorded everybody's session, and then we did our thing with what we usually do. I dropped the transcript into Claude. It's got its own project, translated the whole thing, and it gave me 3 different things: action steps on what to implement, how to track it, and then a recap session where now it's going to hold me accountable to what are the things that we did, right? Josh Meadow and Ryan did a great job. He talked about his 5 laws of marketing, which I was like, that's so dope, right? Tim on his mindset side, right? Larry talked a lot about identifying a niche, and then also like how his niche has transitioned, right? So Larry Gonzalez, super dope dude, right? Is out of Hawaii, which is a big like VA market.
Mm-hmm.
And he had talked about how his market was shifting a little bit into non-QM, and it was done more or less purposeful. What I loved about it, and sometimes I have to check myself, is like, we're doing all this shit, right? That's a lot of the reasons why I love kind of going to these things, is looking for those nuggets here and there. And I'll be honest, nothing personally stood out to me just in terms of where I'm at in my business. It just truly showed me that, hey, we're on the right path, right? When it came to, I always say, sales, service, support. When it came to sales, hey, we're on the right path of tracking conversion. We're on the right path of making sure that we're seen and visible, right? And then when it came to the service side, obviously the main topic was AI. So are you actually using it? And some of the cool stuff that some of the guys on stage were talking about was great. Some of the stuff that you talk behind the scenes, because in my opinion, that's where the real magic is happening, right? Not just the shiny object. And there was obviously cool shiny objects. I don't really spend too much time in general in the, what do you call them, exhibition halls,
Oh,
right?
like the vendor area.
Yeah, I don't really spend too much time. And I have a bad habit, because once I do, right, then I'm like, dude, because you know me, I think a nice gorilla, right? Where I'm like, dude, that's so fucking cool. I think I can immediately connect you with somebody, which I did, right? With that new platform, right? With Ellen and M-Loop. And I'm like, yeah, that's pretty freaking cool. I got a guy who can basically get you the data. Hold on, stop talking. Here's a connection, like literally. And you're like, yeah, dude, we just got connected to them. So, but it was cool. I mean, but there's obviously new shiny objects, and I'm the first one to say I won't close my ears to listen to them, because if anything, I'm like, I kind of want to hear like, what are you doing? Because maybe my systems are a little outdated, or maybe what you're doing I can kind of already internally do on my own, right? Just a different spin. And then try to really consolidate the stuff, right? Because I think, for the last year and a half, it was like the new wave. So you're like, I literally this morning, I was like, I got rid of Gamma, right? Which was like my thing, right? The PowerPoint presentation, because I built out 2 projects in Claude that gives it to me, right?
So it's building the presentations for you
building the
without,
presentation, yeah.
right?
So I obviously the prompt is like fucking 3 pages long, but I don't need it anymore. And it was inexpensive. I think I was paying like $20, but I'm like, all right, killed that. Wasn't really using CapCut anymore, right? So just cut that. That was $10. Just reduced my StreamYard from $70 a month to like $30 a month. So just from that, I saved about $100, right, today, right? And I think it was because, well, what we're doing now is consolidating everything, right, into like, I don't need you. And I meet with Leanne, who's like my revenue manager, and I'm like, hey, do I really need this? She goes, well, your CRM connects to this and the connectivity. And if you don't have the connection, because a lot of the stuff that we build out is my own, right? And you're using Zapier to do the connection, so it works. And I think a lot of companies are obviously starting to become more cognizant of that stuff, where they're basically like making extensions of their business just to create that better consumer experience. So,
it kind of reminds me of when I first started learning this industry from a business development perspective. One of the value propositions of a depository, as an example, is the depository is the hub, and then you've got all these spokes that are attached to the hub. You got lot lending, you got mortgage banking, you got real estate, you got residential, you got commercial, you got business banking, you got wealth management, you checking account, savings account, college fund for the kids. Like it's efficient. Could I get a slightly better deal somewhere else? Yeah, maybe I could. Maybe I'm losing an eighth of a point here or there somewhere. But the efficiency to me creates a tremendous amount of value and comfort. Actually, it builds a little bit of trust. It's kind of like, could I manage whatever small wealth portfolio I have by doing it myself or doing it through AI? I could, but the reality is I trust my guy, and it's worth it for me to pay him a little bit more to keep me protected from myself. And also, by the way, it gives me more time back to focus on the things that I need to focus on. Okay. Well, it almost feels like we've now come around that horn on that's actually what technology is starting to look like, where you're the consumer, Abdel. You're an originator, you're a divisional manager, you're an industry leader who's becoming more and more influential on stage and otherwise. And you've got all of these options, but the spokes are not connected to any hub necessarily. The hub is you, and that takes a lot of time. You talked about how long it probably took you to build that prompt. You didn't just sit there and type 3 pages. I know, because I know how it works. That prompt might have taken you 6 months to a year to actually fine tune. It's going to be faster for you now, but I know that we've talked about the fact that, and I don't want to make this about model match, but I do think it is about where we see the puck going versus where the hockey puck currently is. And that is this idea of this MCP connection, which doesn't matter what that is. That's a protocol. You don't have to care. What you care about, or should care about, is that you're not walled in to a particular way of doing something. If you're comfortable with Claude, if you're comfortable with GPT, if your business, your company has spun up a proprietary LLM, well, you should be able to live within that environment and ask it just about anything. And so what we've been working hard on, and what we just released this week, was you can now connect your agent, Claude, GPT, your company proprietary agent, if you have one, which, by the way, this industry is behind. Most companies don't have it, or they haven't fine-tuned it. Well, now you can do what I just did this morning, which was somebody asked me, hey, I want to compare loan officers in North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia. I only want to focus on those that are independent mortgage bankers. I only want to focus on those that have done at least 10 million in volume in the last 24 months. They have to have done over 50% purchase, but I want to see their trend over the last 2 years, over the volume buckets, who's gaining market share and who's losing market share. And then can I tie it to a product? Is there a product reason in these markets? Well, in Model Match, you could do that, but it would take a while. It would take a while to build that out, to filter it. I just went to my Claude agent, asked the question. It said, yo, let me go grab those 6 billion plus lines of data from Model Match and build this out. And boom, I now have it. I can save that chat. I can fine tune it 30 days from now. I can share it with others. So point being, let's go to the CRM, to the point you just made. If you can make the connection to your agent or wherever you're spending most of your time, you shouldn't drop the CRM. What's the point? You don't need to reinvent the wheel. But what you shouldn't have to do is log into that CRM every freaking time you want to do something. Or what you shouldn't have to do is even log into Model Match every freaking time you want to do something. Your agent is running protocols. Your agent is running projects. Be where you are.
100%. And it goes back to what I said earlier, is now I don't have to log into a separate platform to get the data, to then extract the data, and then ask it to present it to me in a way that I want it, right? In a PDF, in a guide, in a step-by-step or whatever. It's given to me in one. right? And I think that's been the biggest key with it. And when you guys told me that it was coming out, I think Thomas was like, "Yo, we just got this thing, blah blah blah. Can you jump on Zoom?" I think like 10 minutes later, we were on cranking away, and from there too. And I think this is the key part is if you're going to be someone truly adopting anything in life, but specifically on AI technology, you got to understand that SOP that you just made 2 months ago, it's going to change, right? And if it's not going to change, to what you said earlier, you're behind, right? And the way I always explain it, you have kids, I have kids, is if we took our kids on vacation for like a week, right? You're usually going to do it at the start of the year, or you're going to do it at the tail end of the year, or like closer to like winter break or summer break, because if they miss like a week of school, they're behind, right? And their curriculum or what they're studying, it's the same thing here, right? And you have to really be that leader, or if you're an originator, you're a leader for your consumers or for your referral partners. You have to be that person, because we didn't just wake up and started doing this, right? I've always kind of been that person. We've obviously taken the tailwind of AI very in the beginning, and I think the biggest reason why we're seeing the success too, not because we all have the shiniest objects, because we all get the same shit. I actually know what I want, right? And I think that's the key, right, Eric? Is like, what do you want? Like, all right, you want originators? Are you just going to go into Chat or Claude or Model Match or whatever platform you use and say, hey, I want loan officers who close $10 million to $30 million in Toms River, New Jersey? Go, dude. First of all, your shit's gonna crash. Second of all, that's not like I don't want refi driven originators, right? I don't want somebody who is maybe only conventional, right? Or maybe somebody who's doing lesser loan amounts because you might be doing more HELOCs, whatever the case may be. So like dial it down, right? And you've heard me say like the 5 products, right? Is it pricing? Is it product, right? Is it perseverance? Like, what is it that you're looking to do? And the opportunity is not just getting the better data. I think the opportunity is understanding that you can help yourself and your teammates and your partners adopt this stuff, right? And then taking it from there.
Well, no, great point, because this has always been one of the arguments, which is, and there's lots of platforms where, an owner, a president of a company will look at something and say, I think this is amazing, but our loan officers won't adopt it. Well, first of all, I think that's a problem in this industry, that there's just a significant lack of stickiness between the corporate value proposition and the originator's willingness to adopt. Number one, I think that's a cultural problem, number one. But number two, it is up to the tech platform, whether it be through service or efficiencies and ease of use, to increase the opportunity for adoption. Going back to this hub and spoke connection, that is a lack of adoption killer. You all of a sudden start realizing you're adopting without even realizing you're adopting. It's just sort of happening. Look, while you and I are talking right now, my agent is running a report in the background. I've got an assistant working for me on a project that I asked it to pull from the model match data. How efficient is that? You and I are doing this settling scores episode while I've got an assistant working that in the background. So
on July 3rd, who likely your salaried employees are probably home because you're that cool boss and you want to give them off.
Yeah, it depends on the day, but yeah, they're home. Nobody's here. I'm the only one. I'm the only one in the building right now. But no, that adoption component is such a great point. Okay, let's keep this one short. That was killer. If more and more, I know I've said this, people should be following you and paying attention to you. Do you have any intention of taking those notes? That I think you might have actually done it already. Didn't you post a summary of, we'll talk about that for a second, because by the way, that's a big deal, man. Like you paid money to go there, and there was an expense out of your pocket. You transcribed, you then summarized, and then you made it public. That's fantastic.
Yeah. So we created, shout out to Scott and his team with Housing Link. I was just on their use case pod, whatever you want to call it. Because again, man, if I'm being introduced to a platform and I'm gonna pay, I don't know if I pay $100, I'm gonna freaking use it, right? So what we did was, again, going back to the point, and guys, we do this for everything. So if you're still with us, please check this out. You finish a meeting with a referral partner, and Eric, you've heard me say this time and time again, but it's always being refined. You finish a meeting with a referral partner, hopefully it's recorded, right? Firefly's on or whatever. You take that transcript, you plug it into a chat or Claude, and then it does the whole breakdown of it. Then you take it and plug it into, we've been using recently Notebook LM a lot, and it creates, a podcast audio, a video overview audio, an infograph, an implementation brief, and just a checklist report, right? And then we basically take all that crap, because you know me, I want to be that different originator who is going to put so much info in front of the consumer, or in front of the, and by the way, we do this on twofold, right? Consumer, referral partner, or even loan officer on their data, and put it in front of them. That consumer is going to be like, holy shit, this person just put all this work and energy, enjoyed, had a good conversation with them, or frankly, sometimes not a great conversation, but they put so much time and energy into giving me this stuff. Now, they don't know to an extent that it was generated in seconds, or maybe they do, right? Because everybody knows now adoption, with AI themselves down to business, but they also know that you took the effort to do it, right? Because all these tools,
I think people care less and less. Like, there was this whole thing for a little while. They were like, "Oh, you did that with AI," or "Oh, you summarized that with technology." Who cares? I mean, if the summary is wrong, well, then you should be called out. If the next action is wrong, or the outcome is wrong, well, then you should be called out, and your use of AI or technology should be put in question. But I'm not noticing that as much. The funny thing is, I'm noticing it more with kids under 25. They seem to be pushing back a little bit more than others. But I think it's because they can see, they're questioning, well, how is this going to impact my life? Is this go, and I think now we're getting off task, and I'll just say this one thing. I think with them, it's a little bit more about art, which I do appreciate. Like, are we bastardizing art, whether it be music or physical art, paintings, sculptures, things like that. But when it comes to this, we might be making ourselves stupider. I don't know yet. Like, I do wonder about that. I'm not writing things down like I used to. I'm not, I'm sort of summarizing and glancing maybe a little bit more than I used to. We can worry about that 2 or 3 years from now in a future episode.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you this. So listen, so again, loan officers, consumers, partners have access to data. Like, now data's cheap, right? Where like previously data was expensive. Yeah. I think, to your point, where you're going is what you do with the data is key, right? What is your workflow? How are you implementing your workflow? You have access to technology. What's your daily rhythm, right? Just like going to the gym. Do you go and sit in the sauna first because it's cold outside? Now, I don't freaking sit in the sauna because it's hot as shit. By the time I walk in the gym, I'm already sweating. So I'm going to go and do my cardio, then lift, then go in the sauna. So, but that's my rhythm. But I know that, to your point, the art part, your authenticity, right? You being your authentic self is your product advantage. Right.
Which is why great salespeople are always great salespeople. It doesn't really matter what the market is. It doesn't really matter what the conditions are, what technology platforms are being used. I think it can help kind of pull the middle a little bit more. But no, I love it. By the way, final statement here. Since you did the gym cardio, the resistance cardio sauna comparison, the reality is, not you, not me. And I don't have arms like you do, but the reality is, you know what a lot of people do when they go to the gym? They just go to the sauna. Yeah. They're not hitting the weights. They're not doing the cardio. They go straight to the sauna, and then they go home and they're telling themselves and all their buddies that they work out every day. And so look in the mirror, check yourself, connect the dots. Look, with technology today on the tech side, you don't have to go to the gym, the cardio and the sauna. You can go to one place and connect to all these other things to create greater adoption and greater efficiency. All right, dude. Happy 4th.
Let's go.
Get your fireworks on. I love you, dude. And I'll see you next time.
Thanks, brother. Have a good one.
Yeah, man.